So, Randy, I want to talk about the electronics for a moment. You're so synonymous with using that envelope filter on your trumpet, and it's even on track one, when you step into the solo. I got to talk about what exactly are you using, and how do you get that amazing sound?
Well, the original Crybaby, I tell this story, I've told this before, but way back in probably it was 1970 with Dreams, when we had John Abercrombie added to the band, and he did the first record. He thought of himself as a jazz player, and the only way he could get into the rock world was to use a wah-wah pedal. And myself, and Barry Rogers, the trombone player in the band, we had Marcusbury pickups that went into a thing called Condors that were made by Hammond. But a rehearsal, Abercrombie couldn't make the rehearsal, and his wah-wah was just sitting on the floor, and I 1/4-inch jack, I just plugged it into what became a chain, and it sounded fantastic on trumpet. So that was, we all went, holy moly, that sounds great. And I always tell the story, Miles used to come and hear us right before he did Bitches Brew at the Village Gate. He came down a bunch of times and didn't ever say anything to us about it, but next thing you know, he's got his wah-wah going, and Bitches Brew came out. Years later...
You're like,
Years later, though, when we... maybe 7 or 8 years later at 7th Avenue South, the club we opened, he was there one night. I had never really met him, and I held my hand out and I introduced myself, something like, oh, I'm a big fan, or whatever you say, and he just didn't respond. He had those bug-eyed sunglasses on, and I kind of slunked away and said, okay. Went downstairs to the bar and nurtured my sorrows with a couple double vodkas. And next thing I know, I hear a little wisp of air in my ear about an hour later, and I hear, I love my wah-wah, you love your wah-wah. And he was Miles, and he split. That's all he said to me.